Are you good, Dave?
Mhm. Hello, everybody. Scott Welch here. Hope you're having a really, really good Sunday. And just wanted to touch base with you. I know around the nation we got game 2, I think, of the NBA Finals, which is cool. So what's is nice about this is that we tape this, you can share it, and the hope is that you would share it. In fact, that's what I really really appreciate you doing. So make sure that you share this with other folks. So I'm here talking about Plantation Jesus, Raise Faith in a New Way Forward, a book initially started by a dear friend of mine, Rick Wilson, who passed away in 2014. And and really wanting to finish it, had a great friend and Andy Kumbo Floyd who helped us accomplish that. And so it was important for me to do that. And so I just wanted to just talk about it every week. Around this time Sunday, I just want to share a few things, not necessarily about just the book, but just in conversation, because really the purpose of Plantation Jesus anyway is to encourage people to have conversations. And so this is a catalyst, one catalyst where you are able to have this conversation, with folks. And I just think it's helpful. So I always have my notes here, and I want to also say thank you for your enthusiastic response. First of all, as I said, I'm looking to have 50 reviews by June 10th. And I know right now we have, about 13 or so, but they're climbing, which I really appreciate. And so I wanted to just kind of read to you one of those. One of those left today by friend Stan in Kalamazoo. And he says, what a clever, clear, concise piece of art and enlightenment and history. This book will force you to be honest about the past, see how it affects the present, and challenge you to take a new way forward into the future. As you read Plantation Jesus, you will feel the pendulum of race swinging in a new direction of healing, which is really what this book is all about. As provocative as a title as it is, the point is that it leads us to a new conversation. We had one individual say, hey, there's, of all the things mentioned, it's not necessarily a new way forward. And I think it is a new way forward, but I think it's not because it's some ingenious idea, actually. I think it's a new way forward because we're actually confronting the things that people tend to be politically correct about and not really directly speak about them. So I think the new way forward is actually an honest way forward. How about that? And so we're not trying to be politically correct, as I told you before. I think politically correct conversation does more to kill really good and authentic conversation than anything else. And so this is really talking about a transparent, truthful, and an honest way forward. And I appreciate it. I see Deborah online too, and I appreciate you getting ready to post your review later today. Deb, very much appreciate it. This is from an Amazon customer. Not sure who this is. It says, Plantation Jesus is a monumental work of addressing racism and the worship of a white Jesus. The authors don't hold back in holding us accountable for this form of idol worship. This book takes us through the journey of how and why white Jesus was created, the strategies for a way forward to more inclusive Christian communities, and towards a greater worship of our true Savior. Highly recommended for book clubs and Bible study groups. So again, I just want to read a couple of those and say thank you, and thank you again for taking the time to review the book. And it's great to hear people, how they're affected by it. I mean, that's really cool to me because I walk alongside of everybody. That's kind of my thing is, I'm honored to be able to put something out there that people enjoy and that it challenges them and kind of rocks their hard drive in some way. but it is not like I am like any type of a know-it-all. I call myself a senior beginner. How's that? Lets you know what I think about it. So I'm a senior beginner, which means I'm always open to learning new stuff, and so this is one of those parts of the journey. Wanted to just remind you of a few dates. On the 15th of June, that's a Friday, Andy Kumbo, Floyd, and I will be at the Coming to the Table national gathering. That'll be in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And looking forward to spending time with all those amazing people there. And we're going to be talking about the book and going over some things in a talk that we'll give on Friday. On June 24th, that is a Sunday, I'll be at my own home church in the Kalamazoo location, where my buddy, Pastor Stan Ellis, is going to be asking me a few questions, and also my senior pastor, Pastor Joel Brooks. They're going to take not the whole service, but a portion, maybe 10 or 12 minutes talking about the book, and then I'll have a book signing after that in the atrium of the church, Kalamazoo, in Kalamazoo, Michigan. That's 1225 Patterson. Then the following week, that is July the 1st, we'll be at the Grand Rapids campus of Stones Church. That is 1449 68th Street in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And that's where we're going to be taking more of the service to really talk about that again, being interviewed. For me, it's not about doing a lecture. I tend to do better when people ask me questions, and then that pulls stuff out of me. And so we're going to be doing it in that format. And then we'll have a book signing there as well. That I can just, that'll be kind of fun as well. And then also remember, if you have time, to review the book by June the 10th. And here's the thing: what I found out while looking at how other people review books on Amazon, they generally ask you to read the first chapter. One book, one author said, read the first 10 pages, but I'm asking you to at least read the first chapter. And then from there, if you post your review so that we can get to our 50 by June 10th, I believe we can get it done. Then also, what I want to really talk about tonight briefly is just around, hey, Rasheen, good to see you online here, that Plantation Jesus is just not for churches. I know that it certainly, we certainly and unashamedly directed towards the church. But for anyone involved in wanting to have deeper conversations just about this whole idea of racism, all those types of things, that's what this book is for. So some people are going to come at it through a social justice lens. Some are going to come at it through a Christocentric lens. Some are going to come at it towards a community building lens. Because here's the thing: in every community around the world, faith communities are just a critical and fundamental part of every community around the world. And so this is about community. Plantation Jesus gives you language to talk further about how to build a more authentic community. And that's what we have to build it on. And so, that's not it. So it's not just for the church, actually. This is just for people that want to have a real honest dialogue. And we talk about everything from professional sports to the whole idea of a Christian nation. We talk about imagery from Spike Lee's movie Bamboozled. So, I mean, obviously, it's a book just to help us go further in our dialogue with each other. The goal is that we have authentic community, but you can only build authentic community by having authentic relationships. The only way to have authentic relationships is to base those relationships on the truth and having authentic conversation. And so that is what Plantation Jesus is focused on. Just from a Bible standpoint, we have this whole idea of the scripture that's my heart is for the book, and that is John 17:21, and that is where Jesus is having his conversation with the Father and saying, Lord, let them be one as you and I are one, and then that the world may know. And so the whole idea is that if we can model unity, that is just an amazing tool, an amazing way of letting culture see that we can get along. And here's the thing. I really think that, culture is in many ways very smart. And what I mean by that is that they see, they understand some of the platitudes, and they understand some of the stuff that's just not real, folks. And so I think if they can see us do something that they can't do, in other words, having real conversation, being truly, if we call ourselves a family, let's be a family. And, but real family doesn't oppress each other. Real family has real conversation. Real family, they don't marginalize each other, right? Real family stays at the table even when the conversation gets hard. That's what real family does, and that is one of the things that that's my prayer for you as you're having these conversations. And I also wanted to say that you don't have to be a facilitator to look at the questions after each chapter. The resources in the back of the book are for a person that is just wanting to start, right, and have the conversation. It's right there. So all you've got to do is simply look at the questions in the back of the book, have the conversation, just lead the conversation and see and just see where it goes. But you have to agree that you're not going to walk out of the room or walk away from the table when the conversation gets a little rough, right? That's how maturity goes. You want to have mature conversations, and sometimes those are akin to uncomfortable conversations. Also, wanted to let you know too, we're setting up actually with the publisher Herald Press out of Pennsylvania. We're setting up the opportunity for you to order bulk. And so, because I say, it's this book is best. You can have it and digest it as an individual, but it's best served and best used in groups. And so we're actually setting that up with Herald Press. So you'll have the ability very shortly to order by the case and pass them out. Have them at your community group, whatever your community is. Have them at that community group. You got a book club, have it at the book club. And so the goal is to have people from all walks of life lead the conversation. That's what it is. And that's my desire. And I know that was Rick's desire. Certainly, that is to have people lead the conversations. You don't have to have a license, any type of special certification or anything. The point is just have the conversation, right? And see where it goes. Again, we're a community, right? And so you need to lead the conversation also. So I think, just go for it, right? Just go for it. Also, let's see here. Also, this is, I wanted to say also, I see people buying more than one copy of it. That's really cool. I saw Barton out of Grand Rapids who bought one for him and another family member. And I think that's kind of cool too, to see that happen. When you share it, it's one of those books where it's like when we discover something that is kind of this new thing. You want to know if can we track together? You got to read that book to really kind of understand where I'm coming from, because I may say some controversial things, right? When Rick and I were hanging out, I would talk to him about Bamboozled from Spike Lee. He'd say, "Oh yeah, Scott, man, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm watching." I said, "Well, here's the deal. I want us to watch it together." And so we put on Bamboozled, man, and he was just like, "Okay, now I understand what you're talking about." And so that began our journey. And so I think Plantation Jesus is one of those where you can lead that conversation, and this can be the introduction to a new language for all of us. Hey, Maureen, great to see you as well. Wonderful to see you. Also, let's see here. The one of the main things too, as we I wanted to read something here. In the back of the book, you have some exercises. Again, we're not leaving you out there to dry. So I mean, we are really wanting to equip you with some really cool tools. But for instance, one of these is that I really looked at today is where it talks about It says dispelling the myths and apathy around slavery and racism. The name of the exercise is Get Over It. It says in this exercise, you'll explore the oft-stated idea that people should just get over it when it comes to issues of historical injustice and racism. The hope is that you'll be able to both define what it, quote, it is in these situations, whether it, quote, is something you think, or something someone else says, and have ways rather to encourage dialogue around historical and contemporary racism. It says, number one, commit yourself and or the people with you that you will stay in the conversation even when it gets difficult. Sounds familiar, right? Number two, make a list of all the things people might mean by it, right? When they say get over it, consider these things: historical events, B is personal experiences, and C, emotions. Number three, discuss or journal about what bothers you about the it's, quote, on your list. Why are you bothered by these historical events, personal experiences, or emotions? And so this is just one way to get, hey, Mom, how you doing? I see my mom's online as well. That's very, very cool. But this is one of the exercises that gets you kind of moving forward. One of my favorite, and I think this will be very, very interesting. Where is it? I want to follow. Okay, here we go. This is the one. This is separating church and state. It says, is America a Christian nation? So as you can see, by the way, these are not exercises for the faint of heart. But again, it's just time, folks, to have real conversation, right? To have real community. It says, in this exercise, you are encouraged to explore what you have been taught and what you believe about the religious origins of the United States. The hope is that you will come to a deeper, more complex understanding of our nation's religious roots. Because we address in the book the myth of a Christian nation. But, and this is not about emotion. Let's just go factually and just have the people in the room go through this exercise together, right? And I tell you, if you can get somebody that maybe believes very different from you, or is very different in terms of their political spectrum where they are, that is who you want in the room. You don't want people in the room where everybody thinks alike, acts alike, and agrees with everything. That is like boring, right? Have it so that it's a challenge. So it says, so this is the first step in that particular exercise. Read copies of the founding documents of the United States, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, right? So that's the first step. Second step, as you read, highlight any mentions of God and Jesus. Number three, what do you see about Christian faith in those documents? What do you not see? Number four, why is it important for some people to consider America a Christian nation? What is the danger of that belief? Wowie, 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 right? That'll make for a very spicy conversation for sure. And as I said, I don't believe that America is a Christian nation. I believe that it is a pagan nation with a lot of Christians in it. And I think that if we were a Christian nation, I think that we would have a better history. I think that the current climate would be a lot more around unifying throughout communities, no matter what your ethnic origin or background is. I also think that there wouldn't even be a term called the Black church or white church if we were really unified and talking about that. And so when we talk about the myth of a Christian nation, I think it makes more sense. There's something called cognitive dissonance, and that's when you have, you have two essentially opposing thoughts. What you see is not congruent with what you're thinking, and vice versa. So there's kind of this disharmony inside. So they call it cognitive dissonance. But I actually think it would make more sense about. I think there's more that endorses right now in culture and for our history. I think there's more that actually supports that we are not a Christian nation than us being a Christian nation. And the thing is, I think it would actually create more cognitive consonance, right? If we actually, it makes more sense based upon what we see that we're not a Christian nation. And so where people struggle is when they try to make it a Christian nation and they know that all the stuff that they're seeing right now, not just now, but for hundreds of years, it doesn't agree with the notion of what a Christian does, what a Christian says, how a Christian treats each other. But if you were to say, you know what, okay, wait a minute, what it might make more sense if I looked at America as a pagan nation with a lot of Christians in it. Now that would make more sense because our behavior as a nation lines up more with that than it does, being a Christian nation. So that's some of the stuff you wanna talk about, and you want to make sure that you make time when you're facilitating a group. Give yourself a couple hours. You want to maybe when you do, if this is a book club book for you, hey, do a chapter, a session, but don't try to read the whole book. Just take it, and then do a deep dive based upon each chapter, because every chapter is very, very dense in terms of its language, its experience, the things that it talks about, where it will most likely lead you to go study some other things. One of the things that we've wanted to do in this book, and I believe we accomplished, is that we can stand by what we have written in this book. And there is nothing by any stretch of the imagination that is deceptive or dishonest. And so we really, okay, cool. So this is, and so know that the motive of this book, we want you to learn more. We want more teachers, facilitators of the deeper discussion. We want you out there. So please do that. I also want to let you know, we're actually planning a show that we're going to have much more opportunity to talk about just things in general around, my background is in diversity and inclusion, 20 plus years. That's what I know. That's what I do, both here and overseas. And so we're going to start doing some things around that. So we're planning a show. So if you would please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is, it's just my name. So, and please subscribe to that. We're going to start having some conversations, kind of some fun stuff like lifestyle things in the news, fashion. Wherever this whole idea of race and ethnicity and community, kind of the dynamic convergence of that, we're going to begin to talk about that. And that's fun. Because I think sometimes my sense of humor is kind of warped. That's why Rick and I had such a great conversations, because we both had a warped sense of humor. If stuff's stupid, we just call it stupid. We're not going to play favorites. But that channel is going to be all about just conversation, stuff I've learned. If you are even a diversity and inclusion professional, we're going to be talking about some things there about that. I tell you, I've seen a few things over the past 20, 25 years, and I think that could be a lot of fun. So my wife has really encouraged me to do that. So I'm going to do it. And, but now, and I'm going to actually have a good attitude about it, by the way. So that's how actually the radio show that we had, Rick and I, called Radio in Black and White, the most integrated hour of the week. He said, man, let's do a radio show. We did, and we ended up doing it for 8 years. I said, here's the thing. I don't like talk radio. I said, they're always beating up on people. They're yelling at each other. I said, I don't want that kind of conversation. He said, what if we could just have a conversation where we just talk about it and just different things, and it was as though people would drop a microphone in the middle of our conversation while we're hanging out at Panera Bread. I said, now that's okay. I said, but I'm still going to be, I got a sense of humor about stuff, and I'm going to call it what it is. I'm going to be real truthful about it. And so that's how Radio in Black and White got started. So we went on for 8 years. And so, hey, listen, I know that you got there's a basketball game happening, but I definitely wanted to spend some time and just say I really, really appreciate you spending time, and adopting this book as your own just means so much to me. The fact that you're taking this book, when you buy the book, please take a picture of it and post it on the Plantation Jesus launch team page. And if you need to become a member of that, just ask for membership. We can approve it right away. Andy Kumbo Floyd, the co-writer, I think she's like 6 days from delivery of an amazing new baby. So that's where has kind of a low profile right now. So, but anyway, let's make sure we keep Andy in our prayers, having safe delivery for mother and for baby. So we're excited for you, Andy, and we just believe the best for you. So hey, family, I wanted to say thank you again. Really appreciate you. Again, get the reviews on Amazon. I know some people have gone to different review places. That's cool as well. Don't forget the June 24th, Stones Church in Kalamazoo, July 1st, Stones Church Grand Rapids, June 15th in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, at the gathering of Coming to the Table. And I just want to say, God bless you. Thank you so much, and really appreciate you, okay? Have a great week. Bye-bye.